Hi, today we're going to go over 4 tips to help you accomplish your New Year's resolutions. Why 4 instead of like 5 or 10, a nice number? I don't have 5 or 10, I have 4. So take what you can get. I'm not really going to be citing sources in this video, so if you're interested in the source, most of it comes from this book, which is Willpower by Roy Baumeister and John Turney. Very good book, highly recommend it. If you're interested, it's a lot about how willpower functions and what we can do to control ourselves most optimally. Anyway, into the tips. Tip number 1, take one resolution at a time. So typically, when people make their New Year's resolutions, they make like a list of, 3 to 5 things, and then they try to do them all at once. So if your goals are like eat healthier, go to the gym, and then, some other stuff, you start off January 1st by doing all of these things, and then a couple weeks into it, you're probably not doing any of them anymore. When you take things one thing at a time, what you do is you let yourself create the habit of doing that until it gets so integrated in your life that it's really easy to continue, and then you can add something new. Tip number 2, set specific goals. So I think go to the gym more is like a decent goal, but eat healthy is a terrible goal. There's a lot of different aspects to eating healthy, which I think is one of the more common New Year's resolutions. So in general, try to make it specific, right? Try to eat more fruit instead of like other forms of snacks. So when you're hungry and it's not a meal, eat fruit instead of something sugary. Stuff like that. You want to make things really specific. The other typical goal is to exercise more. And once again, this is so general. The more specific you get, the better. So maybe you say, go to the gym every day during the week. Or even if it's something small, just like go to the gym Saturday and Sunday every weekend. Like, make that part of your weekend routine. You get up early, you go to the gym. It can be something like that. It doesn't have to be this huge revolutionary thing, as long as it's something that is very clear, that is manageable, that you can create a habit for and stick with it for not only the rest of the year, but probably for much longer than that. One thing that I should say with this is that it's be specific about the process, not necessarily the goal. If your goal is to lose weight, it's more important to clearly plan out how you plan to do that, as opposed to clearly planning out how much weight you want to lose. So don't say, I want to lose 50 pounds. I mean, that can work. Like, that's not bad in of itself. But the more important thing is to then say, I am going to, cut this food out of my diet forever. I'm going to exercise this way and like this many times a week or whatever. Make that the very specific part. And if you also have a very specific end goal in mind, that's fine, but make sure you supplement it with very specific process-oriented goals. Tip number 3, keep your goals to yourself. So I've mentioned this before, and people tend to get not too happy about this one, but there's a lot of research that shows that if you tell people your goal, you're less likely to accomplish it. So for example, if your New Year's resolution is to lose weight, which once again, one of the most common ones, and you type on Facebook or Twitter, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year, and you've done nothing to accomplish that goal yet, what happens is a lot of people see that, and they go, oh, that's a great goal. I want to support that, I want to be helpful, and so they like it, they say, you got this, I believe in you, and then you feel rewarded, and then you're not motivated to do the work anymore because you've already been rewarded for the goal, You haven't accomplished it, but just by saying it and putting it out there, you've received a reward for it, so you become less motivated. There are exceptions to this. For example, if you tell somebody who can help you accomplish that goal, it's usually beneficial. One easy example is in jobs. If you want to move up in a company, telling your manager that actually helps because they know that you're trying to improve yourself and that you are looking for a promotion or whatever, and they can help you. They can be like, okay, well, you need to do this, and this to get this job. And then you know what you need to do. One common response to this advice is that people say telling other people their goals makes them feel more accountable, because now it's not only this internal thing that wasn't really important before, now it's the social thing that if they don't do it, they look bad. So I guess this is possible, or maybe it just helps some people, but to me, what it always did was take whatever motivation I had, say I wanted to, get better at a game for whatever personal reason, right? And it would take that and instead make it a more external thing, and as a result, it was much harder for me to work on and it was way less enjoyable. I think maybe this could be good for goals that are very important regardless of the enjoyment. So for example, being healthier is generally important for a lot of reasons, where if you don't enjoy going to the gym, maybe that's not the most important thing as long as you're healthy, right? That being said, at least for goals that are more personal, like, oh, I want to achieve this for, my own personal mastery or whatever, I feel that this goal just takes away from that internal motivation and makes it more external. And there's a lot of reasons to think that internal motivation is better. Eventually, for me, the pressure from others that I perceive starts to become its own issue rather than a motivating factor, where I won't want to do something because I feel so pressured to do it that it becomes overwhelming and it detracts from other aspects of my life. Once again, maybe this is just a me thing, maybe this doesn't apply to everyone, but for the most part, the research does show that telling other people your goals, such as on social media and that kind of thing, isn't really beneficial. And at least to me, I heavily value your own personal motivation for doing something and trying to keep that motivation alive, as opposed to trying to use others as a way to force yourself to do, because even if you do end up doing it, it's just not as fun. However, one possible way around this is if you and a friend make some sort of bet where you say, okay, if I don't lose like 50 pounds within 6 months, I'm going to, give you this sum of money, right? The amount you give if you don't meet the goal has to be substantial enough that you care to actually reach the goal, because otherwise, like, if you're just going to give $1 to someone if you don't get the goal, like, who cares? But at the same time, you can't give too much that if you miss it, you're like, not able to get the things you need. Like, it can't be that extreme either. And what this is that this actually is a way to hold people accountable, where if you say like, oh, I'll give you $50 if I don't lose 50 pounds by, 6 months, that is like, I would really like $50. I don't want to give that away. And so it goes from this like social general thing that, let's be real, most people aren't going to judge you for not accomplishing your New Year's resolutions, because most people don't accomplish their New Year's resolutions. But when it's a price of $50, then it doesn't matter who's judging you. You just don't want to lose $50. Now, once again, this doesn't really make things, internally motivated, but if you really struggle with that, this does seem to be a method that works as a way to, get yourself to do something that you feel you need to do. I wouldn't recommend this for things that are more personal and independent, but when it's something that comes to like your health, that might be a good enough reason to do something like this. I think the last thing, as a tip, and this is more of a reminder, is that New Year's resolutions, for the most part, are not meant to be things you do for a month, which sounds obvious. But let's take the example of going to the gym. There's this idea with like getting fit, that you go to the gym, you eat healthy, and then you get fit, and then you don't need to do that stuff anymore because you're fit. The point of New Year's resolutions is to build new habits that last and are helpful to you in some way. If you want to go to the gym or to get fit, getting fit is not just some external point where you reach and you're done. It's just like keeping yourself healthy in general. Part of that might be going to the gym, 2 times a week. Part of that might be eating a healthier diet, cutting off fried foods, cutting off whatever. But the point is not that you reach this goal and then you're like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm done. The point is you develop these habits that last, that enable you to lead a healthier lifestyle. It's not just about reaching a certain point as much as it is developing habits. That's the video. I have another video that's in the works, but because of COVID stuff, I'm currently not really working on it, so hopefully that'll be out soon. But yeah, I just wanted to get this video out before New Year's because, I'm bored, and I thought it'd be interesting. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something. Stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you soon with another video.